Okay, we're going to continue on and load up the Blaze demo um, test that we created from the plugin, and we're going to walk through the steps we need to go through to kind of really develop this test and make it more meaningful and make it more useful to us and provide us with results that we can see and understand. So the first thing we'll do is we'll load it up. So we'll open and we find it right here. This is the Blaze demo load test version 1 that we did. That's a template test we did. So we're going to open up this one now. You can see it's already, when it recorded that, it recorded all this header information and user-defined variables. Now this is the base URL for the site, so you'll see in a second why that's so useful, and we'll use these user-defined variables quite a bit. Request defaults, there's really not much in there right now. DNS cache manager, clear cache for each iteration. What this does is this does not cache like any of the CSS pages or anything like that. This is really good as far as it will give us a true value of unique users going in and seeing this. Now it depends on your application. You may not want to do this. You may have users that come in and they're not going to use that page from scratch each time. They perhaps might be, might be consistent users. There might be just a dozen users of a system, but they're in it all day. So you might want to have this clicked for them. Uh, Authorization manager, some information about that, but there's nothing here yet. And again, clear auth on each iteration. Cookie manager and cache manager, same thing. And and then here's a thread group. Now, we talked about this before. Thread groups, basically, they're a bunch of users. We can think of a thread as a user. So right now, this is just simulating one user using the system one time. This is just for testing to get things set up. So we'll open this up. Now, inside of the thread group, there's a test transaction controller. And basically what this does is this gives us a overall level for this whole process going to all 4 of these pages. And you'll see later how that, what value that has. So this is each one of the pages that we went to. And if we were to take this and use this and graph this out and stuff like that, these big old names would be in there, and they wouldn't be very helpful to us. So the first thing we want to do is rename things. And so we're going to rename this is, we might call it a reservation test. Um, so we have that, and then we come down here, and we might call this like the landing page. We might want to just call it landing. For brevity, it looked better in the charts and stuff because I'll use these names in the charts. Now you'll see here, this is the protocol for the call. It's either going to be usually HTTP or HTTPS. And here is that base URL 1 that came from the user-defined variables right here. So this is defined here, blazedemo.com. So, but when we get here, we just use this variable, and what we do is we just take that variable name from here, this value, and you put it wherever you need to use it, and you just wrap it with curly braces and then a $sign at the beginning of it. And again, if you needed a port number for something, you would put that right there. And you would use this is the request, the kind of request it is. This is a GET request, and this is a path that if there was an additional path that you would have, and we'll see that in a second. So we'll go to the next page. This is a reserve page, and you see here again, this is HTTP. If this was a real site, this would all be encrypted data, so this would be an HTTPS. Your base URL again, your post, and then your path. And this is why this is all useful. So you don't have to rewrite this over and over again. You don't have to add in your full path to your page and stuff that way. It kind of assembles together and makes it easier to do your test that way. As we can see here, the same thing. We have our parameters are built right here. They're encoded. They are included equals. Everything's all good right there. And so we want to call this, let's call this is a reservation page, so we'll just call this reserve. All right, and then we can go to this one. This is a purchase page, and again, it's another post request. Same information here. So let's call this name here purchase. And here are the posted values that were captured by the Chrome plugin. And we'll just go to the next page. And then here, it's the same thing. This is the confirmation page. So we get this confirmation page. The information is provided. Again, we're going to post this confirmation back. And typically what happens in most websites is that you would send this information back, and this is where it would officially get logged in. So that is the renaming process. Now, the thing with this is just sitting here, and all this information, these are just labeled. And if I went to run this test, let's run it real quick. It would run, and it would run. And when it's done, but we don't have any information. The only information we might have is really nothing, because we don't know what's going on with it. We don't see anything. So we're going to go ahead and just stop it here, and we're going to put some more. We're going to add some more to this to help us see what's going on. So the first thing we want to do is we're going to add in a listener called a view results tree. And what this does is this it shows us what's going on with the test. It tells us what's going on. So we'll look at a thread group again, 111. We'll click here. And this also, just so we know, there's a start timer and there's a start with no pauses. So we're going to do this. We're going to start with no pauses. This is great for testing, because then we're not waiting for any kind of system timers we're not waiting on those. So let's go ahead and start it that way. And you can see here it hits the landing page, reserve page, purchase page, confirmation page, reservation page, and now it's done. It doesn't have all the other things in it. Now we'll talk about those next time. We're just going to look at these. This is the first part of your test. This will give you your information. You can click on each one of these. You can see the request that was made, the response page. It depends. If they're just API calls, they would just return back maybe JSON data, something like that. But this is what that looks like. So that's it for this. And then we're going to go on to, we'll be back for another tutorial on this.